All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little Golden State Warrior video as we look ahead to the NBA draft and what the Warriors ought to do in the draft. And since it's the Warriors video, let's go Warriors colors. Yeah, there you go. Little Warriors colors. And we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Thanks to Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264, and he's a great follow on IG at Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. And thanks to Mancini's Sleep World for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. They got their best price guarantee, their 365-night comfort guarantee, and free next-day delivery. And if you type in Krug10 at any of Mancini's locations at the checkout or online at sleepworld.com, you'll save an additional 10% just because you know me. Krug10, K-R-U-E-G, at checkout at any Mancini's locations or online at sleepworld.com, and you will save an additional 10%. All right, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the Golden State Warriors. An NBA draft day or days is here. And that means that for the first time ever, the NBA draft is actually over 2 days. It's round one on Wednesday and Wednesday night and round two on Thursday night. The Warriors don't have a first-round pick. But there's a lot of intriguing players. Now, the draft, I think, if you're a smart team, has never been more of a great opportunity than it is right now. Why? Because in the old days, it was a very definitive draft. You knew who was good. If there were 20 great players in the draft, they went in the first 25 picks. And if you didn't have one of those picks, you were just kind of out of luck. Now, there might be 20 or 25 good players, but they're really spread over 60 picks, because it's a much more speculative draft. You have freshmen in college, you have international players, you have guys leaving school before they really should, trying to jump into the NBA. Now, for the first time, you kind of have a little bit of a drag on that because of the NIL money, which is encouraging and influencing some underskilled basketball players to go back to school and give the academic deal one more year, because they're making good money in the NIL. And in the NIL money, you get to keep the money and get the degree, as opposed to the NBA, it's one or the other. So the draft is coming up. Cooper Flagg is going to go number one. The Warriors don't have a number one pick. They pick 41 in round two. There's a lot of talk that they may move Jonathan Kuminga. They may move him for a first-round pick. So they may be active Wednesday night on a first-rounder. They may not. They may get an additional second-rounder. They've bought second-round picks in the past. I'm going to go through the players that I really, really like in this draft, and then we will even show you some of the highlights of some of these guys, and it's coming up right here. So let's just go right through it. First of all, let's take a peek at who's got the Warriors projected to draft. Who are they projected to draft? And let's take a look. Let's look at Tankathon first. So Tankathon is one of the websites I really like. And they've got the players listed here, and you got a bunch of pop-ups that you have to sometimes play with down here and X out of. Sometimes that can take some time. But anyway, the Warriors are listed down here at 41 in round two. Here we are. They pick right there at 41, and Tankathon has them taking Chaz Lanier. Now, that's interesting. He's a sharpshooter from Tennessee. He's a 23-year-old senior who averaged 20 points a game. He's a really, really good shooter with a great stroke. So Chaz Lanier can really shoot it. Kobe Bray, who's 2 picks later, the Kentucky swingman, also can really shoot the three ball. Tremendous shooters. They're staring at 2 really good shooters there in Chaz Lanier and Kobe Bray. They're 1 pick after Yannik Neerhouser from Switzerland, who played at Penn State. I think if he was on the board, I think the Warriors are looking for some size. So, but they want athleticism as well. Now, there's other players down here that are interesting. Elijah Martin is an interesting player. He's a winner. Won the national championship at Florida, can defend. He's kind of, think of Randy Brown, who used to play for the Kings and the Bulls. Kind of a really athletic 2-guard who's not much of an offensive player, though he did go for 17 a game in college, but he's a winner. He's a great defensive player. He's incredibly intense. Seems like anywhere he goes, he wins. So Elijah Martin, that's an interesting name. Jameer Watkins is a great athlete for Florida State. Swingman could be interesting. Eric Dixon is a power player at 6'8", 260. He plays for Villanova, but he's a shooter. Averaged 24 points a game and has a perimeter game of note. Vladislav Golden from Michigan is a big center who's 24 years old, 21-9 this year in the Big Ten for the Wolverines. Pretty good player. So, and then there's a couple guys that aren't even listed here. I really like Grant Nelson and Mark Sears from Alabama, and yet neither are listed in the first two rounds. So if you looked at Tankathon, they're saying that the Warriors will choose Chaz Lanier, and they'll be staring at Chaz Lanier and Kobe Bray sitting right there. And Elijah Martin, Jameer Watkins, Eric Dixon. I would probably say if this is the way the thing shook out, I'd probably go with Eric Dixon or Mark Sears, who's only a 5'11 player. Okay, so that's Tankathon. Now let's take a look at NBADraft.net, because NBADraft.net also is a good mock draft to check out. And here it is here. And of course, they all have Cooper Flagg going 1, and they have the Warriors here in round 2, taking Johnny Broome. Now, this is interesting. 6'10", 250. This was arguably the best player on the best team in all of college basketball. He led Auburn, to the Final Four. So Broome is a National Player of the Year type guy from Plant City, Florida, 6'10", 240, 7'1" wingspan, went to Tampa Catholic High School in Plant City, and skilled player, intelligent player, productive player. This guy averaged 18 points, 10 rebounds, 2.1 blocks per game this year for the Auburn Tigers. He can score in the post with a variety of moves. He's got little hook shots, floaters, little jumpers, bunnies, very mature leader, really good footwork, soft hands, really good on the offensive glass. He's a shot blocker. He led Auburn, as I said, to the Final Four. The downside is he's not a pure shooter, 58% foul shooter, 27% from three. He's not an athlete. I mean, we're talking about a guy with like 25-inch vertical. He's a below-the-rim 6'10", 240-pound, 250-pound power player, but he can score. He can score inside. So if you want to work inside, if you want somebody with like kind of an old-school Kevin McHale low post game, he's not Kevin McHale. That's Johnny Broome's an interesting guy. So we'll stop sharing that. But that's what NBADraft.net says the Warriors are going to do. They say Johnny Broome. So very interesting. Now, I like a number of players in this draft, and let's just go through it. I don't know where the Warriors ultimately are going to pick, so I'll just go through and tell you who I like in this draft. Love Cooper Flagg. He's going number 1. The Duke kid, really special. He's going number 1. He's going to be in Dallas. He's going to be a star. VJ Edgecombe is probably the best athlete in this draft. He's the combo guard for Baylor, 6'5" combo guard with great vertical, great dunker. VJ Edgecombe's a good player. Con Knuppel from Duke is also going in the lottery. A lot of people compare him to Klay Thompson. I don't think he's quite the athlete that Klay Thompson is, but this guy knows how to play. He's hard-nosed. He will defend. He can shoot the ball, but he knows how to play, and he makes other people better. So I think Knuppel's really got the high basketball IQ. I thought he was one of the best players I saw in the country as far as advanced players. I like Igor Demon, the point guard, the big 6'9" point guard, or at least 6'9" player from BYU who has point guard skills. Now, the shot's not very good, but you're talking about almost like a Ben Simmons type guy. You're talking about a gigantic point guard who sees the floor and gets people involved. Probably going in the lottery well before the Warriors will pick. But I do like Igor Demon. I like Cedric Howard, the swingman from Wazoo. Great athlete, can get up and down. They're saying he's going in the lottery. So all those guys, those 5 guys, Flagg, Edgecombe, Knuppel, Demon, and Coward, those are the five guys that are going in the lottery. that I really like. I don't think the Warriors are going to get in the lottery. I don't think they're going to trade up in the lottery. Then they may be able to trade up in round one. Now, one of my favorite players in this entire draft is Joan Behringer. Behringer is a power forward from France, and he's only 18 years of age. He's got 7'3" wingspan, 7-footer, 6'11", 7 feet, about 235 pounds. Really like this guy. I'm going to share the screen. You guys can see what he looks like. Really, really interesting player. Joan Behringer. Here he is. We'll kill the audio on this. But here he is. And just a very fluid player. Incredible defensive talent. Great length. This guy's only been playing basketball for like 4 or 5 years. He started playing basketball in 2021. Here he is. Just a big, rangy guy. There he's blocking the shot. Look at this athleticism. The incredible length. He's playing professionally in France. He's got great agility at 6'11", 7 feet. And when you've played as little ball as this guy's played, and you see him getting better and better and better, the upside potential for this guy in 2 years is incredible. The fact is, most of these guys played since they were little kids. So you get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. This guy's played for 4 or 5 years. And he's in love with the game, and he just, working. And you can see he's hyperactive. He's figuring out how to play. This guy's raw, really raw. But you're talking about a 7-footer with all kinds of potential. Now, some Warrior fans might say Steve Kerr would never play this guy. And you might be right. You might be right. But I love this player, Joan Behringer from France. So check him out, Joan Behringer. Really interesting basketball player for sure. And you're talking about a guy with, real ridiculous athleticism, 18 years of age. They're projecting him to go mid-first round, around 15. I can't see the Warriors going for him because he's just that young, that raw. But I'll tell you, if you're looking for the steal of the draft and you're really willing to gamble on upside, figure out a way to get that guy. Joan Behringer. It's probably not Joanne. It's probably not Joan. It might be Joanne. I don't know. Joanne. I don't know. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's spelled Joan. That's how Joan is spelled in America, so I'm calling him Joan. But he looks amazing. Now, another guy who I really like is, and I loved him in the NCAA tournament. I'm a big Maryland fan. Derek Queen, the 20-year-old power forward from Maryland, who's got some Kevin Durant in his game. You talk about a 6'9", 6'10" player, but very, very skilled. Very skilled. This guy hit a fadeaway off glass for the game winner to help Maryland reach the Sweet 16. He's got probably a little bit of a conditioning problem. He did not look good in the conditioning drills, which has caused him to fall from the lottery, probably down into the teens or maybe even the 20s. But, man, Derek Queen is a huge talent. And if you're looking for – the Warriors are looking for a big man to play with Draymond Green, you can play this guy with Draymond Green. This guy can camp out on the perimeter. He's very skilled. He can score down low. He can pass the ball. He's 20 years old. I mean, Derek Queen, I think, would be a phenomenal Golden State Warrior. I think, first of all, you say, what do the Warriors need? They need a couple things. They need a backup one. They could use a wing, but they need size. So as you can tell, I'm already focusing on guys in this draft that have size, and we'll focus more on other guys in this draft that have size as we go here. So I really am a big fan of Derek Queen. Like Derek Queen, I'd be very happy if somehow Derek Queen found his way to Golden State. All right, let's talk about some of the other guys, though, because, when you're talking about this draft, as I said, the Warriors don't have a first-round pick. So they're probably not going to get anywhere close to Joan Behringer. They're probably not going to get anywhere close to Derek Queen. Another big man that I think is really pretty talented that I like is Thomas Sorber, the Georgetown center. 6'10", 265 pounds, 7'6" reach, big time shot blocker. He's a defender, I think only. I don't think he's much of an offensive player, but I really like him. If the Warriors somehow wanted to get that player who could play on the ball, Walter Clayton from Florida, who was the most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament, is projected to go 25. And I think the Warriors could probably get up to 25. He's a 6'3" combo guard who can flat out score. One of the best players in college basketball. I mean, this guy's really, really good. Walter Clayton could definitely make an impact. Like him quite a bit. I like Drake Powell from North Carolina, who's a highly rated recruit. He's a wing. He's a 6'5", 6'6" wing, but he can shoot the ball. He's got great athleticism. All right, let's talk about some of the other guys that I think are good fits for Golden State. One guy we're going to share the screen and talk to you about is Maxime Raynaud. And Raynaud is a really interesting player. Here we go. We'll show you the highlights. His highlight reel is terrific. Okay, we'll kill the music on that. But you'll see this guy. He's a 7'1" center. And there's just a lot to like. I mean, he's really athletic. He's from France. 7'1", 240. He's 22. He's skilled. He's productive. He's mobile. He's fluid. He averaged 20 and 10 this year for Stanford. Shot 74% from the foul line. He's tough inside. He's a smart player. Only shot 29% from three, but he's mobile. He's a high character guy. 4 years at Stanford. I really, really like Raynaud. Raynaud has got a lot of talent. To me, this is the guy that I would try to get. I mean, he can shoot it, but he's also athletic. He's smart. I think you put Raynaud next to Quentin Post, and you've got a big man who can really do some things. I think Raynaud would be a very, very, very good Warrior. So that's an intriguing one to me. Raynaud. I think he's interesting. It's like that's a player I definitely would love to see them go after. Okay, another guy that we'll talk about here that also is intriguing. Yannik Neerhouser. And here's the video on Yannik Neerhouser. And here he is just working out. This is another really interesting player. And you can see the length. You can see the athleticism. He's 6'11". He's from Switzerland. He's just really, really athletic player. And really like him. I think Yannick Conan Neerhouser, 7'1", 245 pounds, lob threat, runs the floor super hard, very coachable, rim runner, shot blocker, kind of a late bloomer, 37-inch vertical, though. Averaged 12.6 boards and 2.3 blocks this year. 66% free throw shooter, so he's not much of a shooter. Spent 2 years at Northern Illinois and then transferred to Penn State. But you're talking about 7'1", 250, but athletic. Really, really athletic. And powerful. He is a player that I think is going to be a very, very interesting player. All right, let's talk about another guy that I really like for Golden State, and that's Hansen Yang, the 7'2" big man from China. He's 19 years old. He averaged 16.2 points and 10.5 rebounds for the Qingdao Eagles this past season. And not really a defensive player, more of an offensive player. I'll show you the screen on Hansen Yang. You guys can decide for yourself what you think of him.
Big man comes right down.
Here he is, right here. We'll back this video up and you guys can check it out. Hansen Yang from China. And as you'll see in this video, I mean, he's an athletic player. He's got a post game. He's got quick spin moves. Like down low, he'll do a quick turn. Like watch that. That's a quick turn. on the baseline, and he's got pretty good footwork. And he's kind of liquid. He's got some moves on either hand. It's like if you take away this, he's got that. He's got some ability to pass. Very intriguing player. I mean, I'm very excited by Hansen Yang. I think he's interesting. He's a guy who I think, potentially could be a very good pro. He can score. He can shoot. He can pass. He's got 2 years of pro experience. He averaged 16 and 10. He's only 19. Now, there are defensive questions, but he was the defensive player of the year in China. He can score in the low post. He's got huge, soft hands. Very coordinated. Can finish in the pick and roll. He's got some athletic limitations, but there's a little bit of Alperen Sengun in Hansen Yang. And he's a pretty good player. Pretty good player. And that's another guy to watch, Hansen Yang from China. He's projected to go in the second round. And he might be a really interesting pick for the Warriors. A couple more, though, that stand out. One guy that I really love, and the more I watch him, the more I think, man, this guy's really good. And yet he's projected to not even be drafted. It's Grant Nelson for Alabama. And Nelson is interesting. He's a 6'11" player. Here's a little highlight reel of Grant Nelson. He started off at North Dakota State. Look at that. Look at that.
Nelson! 15 to the left, working against Bjorklund, spins to the right.
We'll take the volume down, but I mean, this guy's got nice game from the perimeter. He's got good handle. Talking about a 6'11" player. That's pretty freaking athletic for 6'11". And this guy challenged himself, transferred from North Dakota State to the SEC to play at Bama. What I like about him is he's just super competitive. I watched a few Bama games, and he's just like one of these guys that if he's on your team, you like him, but if he's not on your team, you hate him. But he's passionate. This guy's passionate about basketball. He's passionate about winning. You can see him. You can see the length. He's taking it right to the rim, but he also has an outside shot. I mean, Grant Nelson, they're saying he's not even going to get drafted. And to me, this might be who I would use that 41st pick on. Or maybe I could sign, maybe if I was Dunleavy, I'd try to sign this guy after the draft. But I mean, look at this. This is some 7-footer who's got some game. And if you watched him, he was a factor for Bama this year. Major factor. So I really like Grant Nelson. And you're watching him here. Like Grant Nelson a lot. I think Nelson is really intriguing. Why do I like Nelson? It's just if you're talking about a guy who is 6'11", he's a rebounder, he's a passer, he's a shot blocker, he can run the floor. He was a star in North Dakota. He was Mr. Basketball inside the state of North Dakota. As I said, he began his career at North Dakota State, transferred to Bama, averaged 25 points, 18 rebounds, and 5.7 blocks per game his senior year in high school. He's a good shooter, 81% foul shooter. So a big man with range who's an 81% foul shooter who played in the SEC, and he's kind of tough and he's really competitive. I'll take Grant Nelson, man. I'll take Grant Nelson all day, every day. That to me would be a very good pick. That would be a very good pick. The other guy that's intriguing to me, and I've got to say that it's another Alabama guy. I like Mark Sears. Here's Jonathan Givony for the Draft Express, who works for ESPN. He had the final best shooters at the NBA Combine drills. This was aggregate of all the shots. Mark Sears from Alabama was scorching. He shot 83% at the Combine. 6% better than Chaz Lanier, 10% better than Ryan Nembhard, and everybody else there. Walter Clayton shot 71%. That's pretty good. Eric Dixon from Villanova shot 69%. That's really good for a 6'9", 260-pound guy. But Mark Sears, 83%. And I think the Warriors need to find somebody that they can put the ball in his hands and take the ball out of Steph's hands. And if you watch Sears, here is a highlight reel
per game this year.
That was Sears. And Sears is just he's a 5'11 player, but he reminds me a lot of Jalen Brunson. He's got a quick release, and he's a scorer. He's an absolute scorer. And here's some highlights of Mark Sears. To me, I would have no problem with the Warriors taking Mark Sears at 41. Totally professional player. Now he's young. I mean, he's small. He's 5'11". But, I mean, this guy can handle. This guy can be the point guard. He's got deep, deep range. He's a flat-out shooter, but he's also pretty tough. Let Steph play off the ball. Let this guy play a little bit with that kind of deep range. He's got a little bit of a Brunson body. Brunson's probably an inch or two taller, but kind of the same, kind of a smart, heady player who knows how to play in the half court, makes good decisions, is a really, really good shooter, squares the shoulders and knocks it down, makes it look easy. And if you could get Grant Nelson as well, now you get a guy who maybe they could play a little two-man game. So Mark Sears, if you say, who should the Warriors pick at 41? Yeah, they need size. So, and I'm advocating a 5'11 guy. I would love to see them in an ideal draft. They get Maxime Raynaud from Stanford, and then they get Mark Sears in round 2. That would be an ideal draft. You get a big man for the future that you can combine with Quentin Post, who's 22, and then you get a guy like Sears who can give you scoring right away. That's what I think Golden State ought to do. There you go. All right, we'll stop sharing. But thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Mancini's for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube. And hopefully the Warriors find their way to Mark Sears come draft night. I've got no problem with anybody else. Maxime Raynaud would be my second favorite, but Mark Sears, I think, would be a fantastic Golden State Warrior.